Great. I think it's a great time to start the webinar now. So good morning to everyone, or good afternoon if you're a little further east than I am. Welcome to the webinar, 5 Unexpected Ways Open Innovation Portals Deliver ROI. My name's Anne McLaren. I'm a Senior Portal Coordinator and Account Manager here at Yet2, and I'm based in Boston, Massachusetts. For those of you that don't know, we also have offices in the UK, Tokyo, and here in Houston, Texas. So some housekeeping before we start today. The webinar will be recorded. The recording will be made available to all of you. Give us a few days for us to download it and process it, but it certainly will be available following the webinar. And if you have any questions today, please feel free to put them in the chat. We will be moving to a Q&A session at the end or following our panel discussion. So we'd love to have any questions you may have. So before we begin our panel discussion today, we're going to spend just a few minutes going over what an open innovation portal is and a formula for success. Yet2 has been in this game for quite some time now, so we do have some background on the recipe for success for your open innovation portal. We'll be introducing the panelists shortly, moving on to our roundtable discussion. Following the discussion, as I said, there'll be a Q&A session for audience questions, so please put your questions in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. It's playing games with me today. Great. So we're really pleased to welcome today open innovation specialists from 4 of the world's leading food and beverage and consumer goods companies. Yet2 is really proud to partner with Colgate, PepsiCo, Unilever, and Mondelez, and work with them on their open innovation strategies and solving the challenges that they face today. Joining me today is also my colleague and director at Yet2, Marcus Waddell. And at this point, I'd like to pass it over to Marcus, who's going to walk through a little bit more about what is an open innovation portal and how you can best use it to your advantage.
Great, thank you, Anne. Welcome, everybody. My name is Marcus Waddell. I'm with Yet2. Before we jump into the panel discussion, I did want to provide a brief intro to Yet2, as well as a brief intro to the topic of open innovation portals for those of you on the call that may not be familiar. Like Anne mentioned, we were founded in 1999. Yet2 is a global open innovation and technology scouting firm, and we've got offices in Boston, Liverpool, Tokyo, and Houston. We help our clients solve their most pressing R&D needs through a range of services, including technology scouting, open innovation portals, strategic deal flow, and more. And our aim is to not only help our clients discover and scout for new and exciting technologies, but also partner closely with them to help them drive those promising solutions towards impact and deal. Today, we'll be hearing from our panelists on how they leverage open innovation portals as part of their overall OI strategy. And Yet2 has been in this space for about 15 plus years. And I wanted to just highlight some interesting findings that we've discovered over the years. When launching an OI portal, there are really 3 main components to an effective OI portal strategy. First is the software or the portal itself, which includes the front-end facing landing pages and submission forms that individuals can navigate to on your corporate site and submit their technologies or companies for your consideration. And there's also a back-end component to the software as well, which includes managing all those submissions, communicating with submitters, and reporting out on different statistics. The second critical work stream when it comes to setting up an OI portal is a submission management process. So the portal is really a single point of entry for all submissions to come into your organization. And as those submissions come in, it's critical to have a filtering methodology in place to filter through all those submissions, extract the most promising, have processes in place to gather additional information on any submission that might be promising, as well as some processes in place to scrub these submissions of any confidential information you don't want navigating into the organization and individuals on your teams getting exposure to. The third component is all around using the portal as a platform to broadcast your R&D challenges to the world. So as we'll see in the panel, a lot of the successful companies we've seen with their portals really take advantage of the portal as a conduit to post specific challenges and broadcast those through different channels to make sure they're soliciting the most interesting submissions. And for the clients and companies that we've seen do this really, really well over the years, there are really 4 key things that you must do really, really well to be successful. I mentioned this a little bit on the previous slide around making sure that you're actively promoting your portal to drive relevant traffic to the submission form and receive the most interesting submissions. There are a number of ways to do this, whether it's through your own channels or multiple marketing channels through a partner like Get2, as well as some tricks to drive organic traffic through SEO optimization and strategic web link placement on your corporate page so individuals can find your portal and submit. The second piece is really around setting a very high bar for filtering so that as submissions come through, your team is not wasting their time and resources on evaluating all submissions, but really honing in and focusing their efforts on those top 10% most promising. Third, the day-to-day team that manages the portal must be really, really great at triaging and prioritizing the most exciting submissions, typically jointly with R&D and division leads, so that the organization can drive faster to a go or no-go decision. And finally, it's really critical we see to establish strong internal relationships, including buy-in from senior leaders, so that the portal is positioned as an attractive and successful avenue for the rest of the organization to leverage when posting their innovation needs. Now, the panel will dive into this topic in much more detail, but if you do those 4 things correctly, as well as the 3 components we talked about earlier, there are a number of benefits that you can see from your portal strategy beyond kind of the most fundamental, which is receiving interesting submissions and valuable non-obvious opportunities. The panel will dive into these in a little bit more detail, and they'll talk about how they leverage the panel as an avenue to prevent IP contamination within an organization, as well as some of the interesting insights and trends that they've seen through submissions, and finally, as a platform to announce to the world, announce to their networks that they're open and committed to OI and open to partnering with external parties. Without further ado, we'd like to transition to the panel section at this point. So I will hand it back to Anne to introduce our panelists.
Great, thanks, Marcus. I'm really pleased to welcome our first panelist, Laurence Detum. Laurence is a Director for External Technology Innovation at Colgate. Colgate has had an open innovation portal hosted by Get2 since 2018, and it's an extremely busy portal. They have a wide range of challenges, and recently we're able to put their portal translations online. So their portal is translated into Portuguese, Chinese, and Hebrew, which just expands the reach of their open innovation portal. So welcome, Laurence.
Thank you, Anne. So it's a pleasure to talk about the portal today and partnership with Get2. As Anne said, we relaunched our portal in 2018. It's been a huge success, so we relaunched it globally. It's accessible on our Colgate-Palmolive, Colgate.com website. We also manage the traffic to promote the portal through search engines, Google, and also other means through conferences as well. And I have to tell you, prior to the relaunch, we had only, like I would say, 25 submissions from innovators around the world, and we are up to more than 2,000 a year now, and more than 4,000 submissions for us since the relaunch has been extremely successful.
That's great to hear. Thanks, Lawrence. Our second panelist today is Samir Talsania. Pardon me. Samir is the Senior Manager for R&D External Innovation at PepsiCo. And I know Samir works closely with his R&D team to develop challenges for the portal. It's a really dynamic portal. They have published probably at least 20 new challenges over the last 12 months. So that really helps them drive their innovation needs. We're pleased to let you know that the PepsiCo portal also has translations into Portuguese and Spanish for our Latin American friends. So welcome, Samir. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Anne. It's great to be here on this panel with my esteemed colleagues. As you mentioned, the PepsiCo Open Innovation Portal is a key pillar of our overall open innovation strategy. It really allows us to reach out to all the interesting inventions and innovations out there, but it also helps us internally as well connect with our stakeholders and open them up to an open innovation type of approach. So it is still something that's relatively new if you compare it to the way that we've traditionally done our innovation internally at PepsiCo. And so having the visibility of the portal is a great tool in kind of communicating our new strategy on innovation. We leverage the portal across the whole value chain within PepsiCo, and right now we've categorized our needs across a number of categories, anywhere from ingredients and agriculture to processing and equipment to packaging and materials, and then overall just sustainability is a big topic area that we're interested in as well. So those are some of our directed needs, but then we also leverage the portal to capture other ideas that aren't explicitly posted, and that often represents about 50% of the submissions that we get in. And so we've gotten a lot of nuggets in that way as well. So it's really been a great tool for us. So, thank you.
Thanks, Samir. It's always a pleasure to have you. Our next panelist is Jos Tissen. Jos is the Open Innovation Manager for Foods and Refreshment at Unilever. Jos is somewhat of a stalwart of open innovation. He has been with Unilever for 24 years and yet too has hosted their open innovation portal for over 10 years. So there's a long history between Yet2 and Unilever. Traditionally, the open innovation portal at Unilever was very R&D focused. Recently, or last year, we welcomed their sustainability team to the open innovation portal, which has expanded the reach of the portal and expanded the use, with the sustainability team now looking for partnerships as opposed to technologies that the R&D team are looking for. So welcome, Jos. It's lovely to have you.
Thanks. Indeed, it was March 2012 when we launched the portal, and I still remember 2 years before that when I volunteered to do this. I thought, how much work can that be, and how many submissions will we get? And that was really tremendous. The first year we got over 1,500 submissions, and for me it was really a surprise that a company as big as Unilever, and I thought as well known as Unilever, that only when you start asking for help, they come for help. And so really when we launched it, of course with the press releases, all the submissions came in, and it has brought us a lot of insights. We work with the different divisions, so on beauty and personal care, home care, foods and refreshment, and like you said, and also now on sustainability. For us, yeah, it's opening to the world. It's also what we now say, like, if you think you can do it alone, then you're not thinking big enough. The challenges that we have specifically on sustainability are so big that we can only do that in collaboration. So it really serves a purpose. The portal, and like also Samir said, it's one of the pillars of open innovation for us.
Thanks, that's a great point, Gus. Before we move on to our next panelists, I just want to reiterate, if there's any questions that pop into your mind while our panelists are speaking, please don't hesitate to put them into the chat. We'd love to get to them at the end of the session. Now, last but certainly not least is Mondelez International. Mondelez has not one but 2 open innovation portals, with yet 2. Paula Angeli is the Open Innovation Senior Group Leader for Latin America, and we work closely with her to solve R&D challenges that Mondelez is facing. And Bridget Wolf is the head of Snack Futures. Unlike Mondelez, the Mondelez International portal, Snack Futures seeks ready-made and innovative snack products for possible venture partnerships. The Snack Futures portal recently pivoted from accepting venture submissions to accepting submissions for their new Collab Accelerator program. And that was a really successful example of another use of an open innovation portal. So welcome, Paula and Bridget. It's great to have you both here.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you for the invite to be in this panel today. So our first portal with Yet2 was launched 3 years ago, but last year it had a facelift to look more contemporary as we continue also to evolve our needs inside it. This open innovation portal is key for us to finding technical solutions for our top technology priorities in Mondelez. So we are currently interested in solutions in areas like sustainable packaging, well-being enablers, natural systems for reduction of pesticides and fungicides, novel research tools, affordable alternatives to palm kernel oil, among others. So we really invite you to visit our hub, submit your solution. And even if you are a small entrepreneur and your technology is still in early stages of development, please consider to submit your ideas, because we are considering a wide spectrum of collaborations and different partners. And our URL is www.mdlzcollaboration.com, and I'll pass over to my colleague Bridget.
Thanks, Paula. As Anne mentioned, we have been using the innovation portal less in an R&D search of a technical space, but more in the snacking space that we can help startup companies and entrepreneurs that we can collaborate with. So we still maintain that venture component if you want to submit an idea. And this year we were quite specific around actually for one of our programs that we wanted to launch in that application process. So I would say in either case, we've had some great success of seeing the power and the simplicity of collaborating with Yet2 to be able to filter and be really clear of what our needs are, and then finding those right startups that we'd like to engage with for our needs, in this case, well-being.
Great, thank you, Paula and Bridget. At this point, I'd really like to move into our panel discussion. We have a few key questions for the panel. I will address them to certain panel members, but to each of you, please feel free to jump in if you have any more to add. So my first is for Paula. Paula, I know Mondelez has a reputation of being a very innovative company. I hear that from submitters regularly. So how does your Open Innovation Portal enhance the visibility of your overall open innovation efforts and strategic goals?
Our Open Innovation Portal is our face to the external innovation ecosystem. So over the last 2 years, we have seen hundreds of submissions coming through across startups, entrepreneurs, universities, research institutes. So we have also signed dozens of CDAs to enable more targeted conversations and explore these new technologies. So I believe the Open Innovation Portal enhances our global reach to all these external solutions far beyond what would be possible both to the open innovation team, small team, but also to our SMEs. So we are capable only for, getting in touch with a few few people and few institutes, and this enhances our reach a lot. So I have one example. We've engaged with a company, it's a very small company in Latin America that was exploring some really interesting functional Amazon ingredients that otherwise we would never hear about it. So we've seen that we've received a lot of diverse submissions through the portal.
That's great to hear. I like the point about having that global reach. That's so important at the moment. Samir, are you able to share any more details on that? I know your challenges span the globe. We see them coming in from all different parts of the globe. So can you share any more details on how your Open Innovation Portal enhances the visibility of your goals?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned earlier, the portal is a key pillar in our open innovation strategy, but it's not the only approach. But like Paula mentioned, it is our face to the outside community, and so it's really enhanced our visibility. Even we do get a lot of submissions through the portal, but we've also, just having the portal itself has helped us in our outreach to other partners through other channels as well, right? I often refer people back to the portal on a specific need. Even if it's a partner that we've already known for some time, a lot of times, we may be talking to them about one technology or subject area, and it's happened, where they have a solution for something else that was posted on the portal, and didn't even realize that we were interested in that area. And so just having the visibility, again, it helps advance our overall strategy, and helps, it's a kind of focal point to point different partners to, and source even more potential solutions.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. It harks back a little to what Marcus was saying as well. Having one of the benefits of the Open Innovation Portal is to have that single point of entry, and then so solution providers can see each of those challenges that you're looking for, and may have solutions to other challenges that they didn't even know were there. Laurence, I'm going to address this next question to you. How is your portal, can you share any details about how your portal has helped you discover promising opportunities that may be moving towards a deal, or upgraded your possible pool of new product launches?
Sure. Yeah, and our portal, we have highlighted the 9 areas of needs for the company. There's a lot of technology needs, but also looking at new business models, looking at solutions for sustainability and packaging, and also quantified health or advanced skincare. So what's important for us, you mentioned the global reach, but also reaching out to individual entrepreneurs or innovators, just not the traditional, source of innovation. I know with our name, Colgate-Palmolive, oral care or personal care, where we're beyond that. We have pet food nutrition, we have home care, acquire some skincare business as well. So we're exploring new areas. So it's very important for us to be open to ideas, not only in other areas that we can bridge and integrate into our business, but hearing from non-traditional sources of innovation as well.
Yeah, we do often see solutions come from adjacent industries, industries right outside of what you're looking at, and you never know what you might find when you just expand that search.
I was just going to add one thing that I thought of in terms of non-obvious. Oftentimes what's non-obvious is a solution that we weren't even necessarily looking for, right? And so innovators from the outside often look at maybe looking at PepsiCo from a different lens, and we may not even be necessarily looking for something. Didn't even know there was an opportunity there, but so we've gotten a lot of submissions in through the kind of not related to a specific need that that have been interesting and we followed up on. So I would consider that as another way we get some non-obvious solutions.
Yeah, it's great to hear that those unusual solutions can then spark a further conversation internally and possible innovation. One of the really big benefits of having a portal, and Marcus touched on this earlier, is the IP contamination or decontamination that Yet2 does. So there's obviously a huge risk to all of you in receiving confidential information. So Jos, I'm going to direct this to you. That how does that help you in the work that you do? You must receive submissions from people all over the world all the time in your role.
Yeah, I think it's one of the main benefits of having this portal. We call it our IP airlock, really. Yeah? So what I value very much is that, and that's also what I hear from the colleagues, that once filtered, so if a submission goes through the whole process and also through your team, and when it comes back to Unilever, to our colleagues to do the reviewing and providing feedback, they are confident that they can just open and access all the material. Where we see instances where people just drop emails in C-level colleagues' mailboxes, and if you open the email, you see with big letters like confidential, and then it's already happened. So this is for us very, I would say, safe way of accessing information from all different sizes, countries, people, institutions, agencies, and companies, and it really helps us. So it gives us, sort of. It takes some weight from our shoulders almost, because it's always when I pass something on, first thing they ask, can I read it? Can I even open it? And maybe it's also a way to just back off and dodge the question. But it really helps tremendously.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Polly, you must be contacted by people constantly as well. Do you have any additional thoughts to share on that, and how the portal plays an IP decontamination role for you?
I can only agree with Jos. Being such a big company, we are always targets of those emails to our C-levels. And this is one of the main reasons why we chose to have an external portal managed by Yet2 to avoid this kind of thing. So it's very common. And once we actually received one of those submissions with a lot of interesting information, but when this email with all the content reached out to the group that would evaluate it, and this consider the innovation group as well, we realized that this great packaging information was conflicting with our IP efforts. So in such, with all, so by that time we had already, more people had already received that email. So it was hard on us to tell people, please delete the email, all its attachments from your database. And then we said to this person that contacted us via email through a LinkedIn contact, saying, please submit your ID again, but through the portal. And then we were sure that no contamination would be further, evolving. So it's very important to have our IP protected by having this extra filter.
And it works two ways. Eh? I mean, it's not only protecting your IP position, but also of the submitters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Good
true.
for them also.
Yeah, that's a really important feature of the portal, and I think you both touched on it as well, that submitters will submit to 25 people across the company. So you've got that information being distributed across the company. It just multiplies the risk and also multiplies the time that you all spend on opening emails, reading it. Do we open it? Can we read that information? Can we open the attachment? All that time does add up. So the open innovation portals do. Yeah, very good.
It means effectiveness for us as well, because we don't need to go through all these contacts. We know that the ones that Yet2 is filtering has at least been filtered through this first criteria.
Yeah, that leads to my next point actually, is what value does that third-party filtering provide? Jos, do you want to comment on what value that third-party filtering provides? You've been at this game for a long time. I know you've seen many stories to tell, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I think that what I said in my intro, well, it helped me tremendously when we started, and when I saw almost all these 1,500 in the first go, and I think now at the moment you and your team, and you filter out maybe 90%, something like that for us. And well, of course, it saves us a lot of work. It also helps that we're not overloading the colleagues with requests for review, almost bombarding them, because of course you will have that in many of the companies, that you have certain people who have expertise on the different topics. You will always go to them when you receive a submission on that topic. But I think now, by filtering out, say, the noise, as I can maybe phrase it that way, the noisy part of the submissions, if you can only concentrate on the ones that really are pre-filtered, then I think it's also easier for us to do a proper review and also give proper feedback to the submitters, such that they also, if we don't follow up, that they learn from it. And because we also said maybe it's not an answer, and so I ask either a yes, let's progress, or a no, because we don't follow up, because, or a no, unless, please come back if you have done these and these tests. Or so if we can only concentrate on the 10%, that helps really very, very much.
Yeah, Lawrence, your portal, we know, is extremely busy. How does that third-party filtering assist Colgate?
Yeah, Yet2 facilitate a lot. Like Paula said, it's very efficient, similar to what you indicated. 90% of the submissions are filtered according to the needs that we have our portal. And I think more importantly is the way that the submission form is formatted, asking like the minimum level of relevant information that's non-confidential, but still helps us, guide our review and guide our, looking at if it's a fit for the company or not. And then it's a secure way for the submitter to not submitting any confidential, information. And even prior, we can do a lot of assessment prior an NDA, right? And prior other agreements in place. So it's extremely efficient way. And we encourage even the rest of the organization or people in our organization to redirect, unsolicited submissions or ideas to our portal. And we tell them we have a team behind it. We look at it, diligently, and we respond to everyone who submits to an idea.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I'd like to actually invite Bridget to comment, given that Bridget, you used your portal recently for such a different application. It's, you know, you have the ventures portal, and then we even changed the ventures portal to accepting collab submissions for an accelerator. So you really do change it all up. And Snack Futures is very dynamic and likes to change all the rules. But we love that, and we love working with them and exploring these new areas. So I'm wondering if you can comment on how that filtering works in those applications.
Yeah, it's incredibly valuable. One is you and I think, you know, several of the panelists have said this before, is you being yet to create a buffer of a wall. One, you get to be a little bit of the bad cop, just filtering news of, you know, it's not the right fit or not the right time or whatever the size is. And that just also helps from a relationship in the future if we ever cross their paths again. It also protects, as many have said, with the ability to keep confidential information at bay. And I think in this case, you know, even in past submissions where we've had, we're not ready yet, you've been able to facilitate initial conversations, and then the follow-ups and how we work with the entrepreneurs that way has been a really useful partnership. And then with the pivot this year we did specifically to collab was, again, using a lot of that backbone of how do you filter and being very clear what you're looking for, but again, using a partnership of how do we filter the initial submissions, and then how do we facilitate the next level of engagement is just really helpful. It creates a level of objectivity for those who are submitting. It gives a clarity for them of what they need to provide or not. It forces us to be very clear on what we're looking for and what other additional information we may or may not need. So I'd say it's a valuable way of working, whether you're getting kind of the, you know, the unsolicited request to submit, or you're proactively seeking people to come in and submit for us.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Simon. It's really valuable points. Samir, I'll pass it over to you as well for this one. I think it's a great area of discussion, is that filtering. How's the filtering helped PepsiCo in evaluating submissions?
Yeah, to be honest, you know, one of the key reasons we switched our portal to Yet2 a few years ago was Yet2's capability in filtering for us, and to be honest, we've leveraged that capability even beyond the portal. To be honest, actually, before we even had the portal with Yet2, our first engagement was really around the unsolicited leads, like Laurence mentioned, you know, that go to our C-level. They would come in, they would automatically pass it on to our team, and then our team, you know, often leverage Yet2 would pass it on to Yet2 to kind of clean and decontaminate those submissions before we reviewed them. Since we've had the portal, we've leveraged the filtering and triage capability beyond just decontamination, really leveraging Yet2's technical expertise in various areas, sometimes where we may not have the expertise ourselves, to help kind of triage and give us insight onto whether this is a really valuable submission or not. Recently, you know, even though that we don't have like Mondelez does the collab, you know, on the portal itself, we've recently, you know, we used Yet2 to redirect traffic to our PepsiCo Greenhouse Accelerator. But then on the back end also, you know, Yet2 helped us with filtering the submissions and triaging the top candidates that entered that program. We've also leveraged Yet2's triaging for needs and outside of ones that have been posted on the portal as well. So if we're looking at a specific technology area, we've engaged Yet2 now on a number of projects to help us filter through different companies that we've been covered through other channels, and it's been really valuable. It really does save us and our team a lot of time to get to top submissions or top areas of interest.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I have to say that I'm really blessed to work with an amazing group of people, and we have such a big range of expertise on the team that we do like to take on projects from almost any topic area. It's what keeps us going. We've had a question from the audience, which I'm going to address to Marcus. And it's regarding correlating the number of submissions with the quality of submissions. So can you provide any insight, Marcus, into how, is it simply a matter of getting a large number of submissions? Some of our panelists have talked about the numbers that they receive. How does that correlate with the quality of the submissions that come in?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So we've been working with portals for a number of years now, and what we found, we've done the math on this. Typically, the magic number of submissions coming through should be about around 1,000 per year, and that will set the kind of the back end up for success in terms of the number that actually make it through the filtering and are really promising. Tend to be about 5 to 10 a year, and so that initial number we kind of target is 1,000 as the input, with the ultimate goal coming out of the back end for maybe 5 to 10 being super interesting. And the key metric that we use is what we call resourced evaluation. So are these submissions interesting enough to bring into the categories, to bring into the business units, where there's an individual on those teams that is dedicated to doing deeper evaluation, whether that's sample evaluation or due diligence. And another point to kind of build off of Samir's point earlier on the filtering, I think one benefit of having a third party look at submissions can be, oftentimes we're not only looking and filtering based on the criteria that we set with you all, but oftentimes, we may see an interesting submission come in that might not be on category or might not be a perfect fit for an existing need, but it hits a bunch of interesting points around, maybe stage of development or application, or is really novel in a key technology area that we hadn't seen before. And sometimes, we'll bring those to the team to say, hey, we know this isn't a particular area that you're focusing on, but we thought it was interesting for these reasons, and we sort of ask the portal team what would have to be interesting, what would have to be true for this to be interesting. So just another benefit I wanted to kind of highlight on the third-party filtering piece.
Great, yeah, that addresses some of Samir's points too, that sometimes we get submissions that aren't for a specific need, but can still be of interest to our clients. We all know that setting up a submission portal, an open innovation portal, can seem like a lot of work. How do you get buy-in from internal stakeholders to launch a portal? Paula, can I ask you to comment on this? How do you get your internal team to get on board for launching a portal?
I believe innovation has to be supported through all levels of the organization. And once we have internally understood which are our critical areas that we are looking for, I believe nowadays open innovation has many ways to be targeted, and the portal is certainly one of them. But it needs alignment not only on the portal itself, but also on what goes into the portal. So we are looking for the highest impact challenges that need to go there. And this is a very interesting discussion between all the stakeholders company to make sure that we are using the portal in a very effective way and with the highest impact.
And I would just build on that even, and I would imagine, Anne, you've seen that across the board with us, is what goes in and then what are the rules of the role of engagement within the corporation of who's approving, who's reviewing, what's the response rate? Because we know this, particularly with startups, that responsiveness is critical and getting to those faster yeses or nos are essential. So making sure that those who are engaged on these portals have the authority to make the call as to how you're moving forward.
That's a really good point, Bridget. It takes that teamwork to make sure they're effective, and Again, I know Marcus mentioned earlier that if you don't have that internal buy-in, you know, if there are breaks in the system, then you know, 1,000 submissions is still not going to get you anywhere. It does need the whole team to be working together. Another question for the audience, to the panel in general. How do you communicate about your portal, and how do innovators know that your open innovation portal exists? What are some of the ways that you have tried? Or some of the methods that
maybe
have succeeded?
I can start.
Yeah.
For us, so it's part of my signature too on the email. The portal is there, business card. We have underground as well, you know, flyers, promotional material when we go to conferences or events. And to also help us promote on their website, LinkedIn, and other channels to kind of campaign or relaunch. But there's still something that we're still working on and promoting this portal as a way to reach out to Colgate and saying that we're open to, you know, innovation and in general, and more than 70% of our innovation coming from the outside. So this is a constant source of innovation for us, or means to bring innovation for us.
Yeah, like Laurence, it's also in my signature, and it's on the, you know, on my slides, final slide, and any presentation that I may give externally. But we're also working on enhancing our presence internally, right? So we have a link to the Open Innovation Portal in our PepsiCo.com contact us page, at least for our main US site, but we're also working on getting it should be up on our sustainability site soon, and talking about open innovation, how it's related to sustainability, and we're working on getting links put on to all of our country-specific sites as well.
In Mondelez, we have a platform called Mondelez Social Hub. And apart from in signatures, as my colleagues here have said, and being links based in the corporate pages, we also use this platform to post, you know, for example, to do like social media posts that all company employees can repost. So we as well post it in LinkedIn, for example, and anyone can repost it and then multiply our efforts in the company.
Yeah, with us, we have links to the portal from our corporate website, from the innovation section, and we're about to say revamp that part of the corporate website. That will be done in the next couple of weeks. But what I find surprising is that when we launched recently, that we're involved in this climate and nature fund, or that we have a new future foods ambition that we publicized, that then all of a sudden we see again a peak in the number of submissions. I think, and you saw that, and that's I would say not directly related, of course, these publications to the submission portal, but we see the effect of it by extra number of submissions by people who think, companies who think, hey, we can maybe contribute to that ambition.
Yeah, absolutely. We do find, and Marcus, maybe you can comment on this, that the best methods of marketing the portal, the two-channel marketing for an open innovation portal.
Yeah, absolutely. So not just through your own channels, but other partner channels. I think also promoting new tech needs and revamping new challenges kind of at a frequent cadence also helps, as new innovators get tipped off of new challenges and then navigate to your site. We've seen that drive a great uptick in traffic as well.
Great, thank you. Paula, I'm going to address this next question to you. Who within your company reviews the submissions that make it through Yet2's initial filtering? And it's being asked by an external innovation director. They receive filtered submissions, but find it hard to review them on a timely basis, given that you do have other priorities in your job?
Yeah, we have a focal point in open innovation, in the open innovation team, to receive the submissions and to spread them according to the areas. So we have a list of SMEs that will review those submissions. They are like the owners of the challenges that are posted there. So whenever we receive the submissions, we know who to contact, and then this focal point is directly responsible for doing that. We are also evolving in the way that we look into these challenges internally, trying to focus more a little bit on certain challenges being owned by certain people in the open innovation team, so we can have more active engagement with the SMEs. And whenever we know that there was a change in the needs, or it's evolving to anything, or there is a short-term solution that they are seeking right now, we can address that and we can review and engage differently with the portal.
Yeah, Laurence, are you able to add any other comments to that? I know it's a challenge for everybody. Is how do you find the right people to review these submissions when you all have, it's a busy area in which you work?
Yeah, I mean, when we work in open innovation, I work in open innovation for the past 3 years. I've been 20 years in the company. So it's important to have a good internal network for sure, not only with the commercial team and technical team. And similarly to what Paula mentioned, we have our SME teams, internal teams, and also we work very closely with our divisions to kind of dispatch the interested, relevant submissions, innovation for further review. So after the filtering of year 2, we have our team have second look, and then we engage our internal teams for review.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Great. We have, I know we only have about 5 minutes left, so I wanted to chat about pose this question to the panel really, is what other creative ways can you leverage an open innovation portal? We heard Bridget speak about the accelerator that she ran, which was a really interesting use of the portal. As I said, Snack Futures likes to change the rules on everything, but that is what open innovation is. It's changing the rules, changing things up. So we love to work with them on alternative use cases. Have any of you ever experienced any alternative use cases, or how have you expanded the use of your open innovation portal?
So I can take that a bit. Our external innovation team is really part of our R&D organization. So most of the things that are posted on our portal are really technology needs. But in the past, we have leveraged the portal, with some of our, let's say, supply chain colleagues, and even had some discussions with our global procurement colleagues on leveraging the portal to find, let's say, suppliers with commercial ready technologies or solutions or products as well. And so again, that's another way that we have used it in the past, and some more in.
Yes, I know at Unilever you recently expanded the use of the portal. We touched on it earlier that it's traditionally been used for R&D solutions. Yeah. And last year we saw the sustainability team join in the portal, which was great. And they're looking for partnerships as opposed to R&D technologies.
Yeah, and that's indeed very different, but well, sustainability is an overarching theme on everything that we do, so also in R&D. I think, and you have seen very many good submissions recently on sustainability, and to be honest, I don't have any insights on what it's leading to or what it has led to, but of course it already has a lot of traction and attention, and I think that's one of the main things to start with, that people know to find you, and also that we can get the dialogue started with the submitters. I see it as a very good addition to what we were already doing.
Yeah, it's great to see that expanding up. So we do see, as Samir said, we see it being used. We used it in a procurement sense if you're looking for alternate suppliers, if you're looking for partnerships, and as well as the traditional R&D solutions.
Yeah.
Probably this is our final question. I'm going to direct it to Laurence. Laurence, on a very high level, obviously non-confidentially, can you share any details or any information about useful submissions that have led to a really promising opportunity or some sort of license deal agreement with a submitter? How far do those submissions go? I know that's often a concern for people.
Yeah, so some of the most promising submissions are actually after having an NDA and material transfer agreement, and we moved into a service agreement, so a master service agreement. So we have a few service agreements that have been put in place as a result of innovation identified through our portal. Very interestingly as well, it was a submission for a company or in the skincare space, and we're looking at it and working with them, something for an application for oral care. So it's like how you can also bring some ideas from one category to the other. So that's at this point in time, that's the type of engagement that we have of submission, relevant submission, promising submissions from the portal.
Paula, are you able to share any other insights on that about how far these submissions make it through your processes? How much impact has there been on those really promising submissions? What's the impact been?
We've seen an evolution through the years. So in the first year, we received a lot of submissions that really never passed through, longer stages of collaboration. But through the years, we've seen that we have more cases going into CDAs, signatures, or material transfer agreements to test in applications that are relevant to us. We've done a joint development agreement with one of the universities to develop one ingredient to us. So yeah, we are seeing an evolution in terms of the kind of collaborations that we are getting through the submissions.
That's great to hear. We're certainly seeing a real uptick in interest in open innovation portals, and we're seeing their use cases expand. Today you've heard about some of the benefits that we see from these open innovation portals, that there is an expanded use case for these today, and they're a really valuable part of your innovation strategy. So I really want to thank our panelists today. Thank you, Samir, Jos, Laurence, and Paula, and Bridget, who had to leave early. Thank you, Marcus, as well, for your contributions. And I apologize that we haven't been able to get to all the audience questions. Please feel free to connect with Marcus or myself. Our emails are there. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. We'd love to get in touch. If there's anything else we can help you with, just let us know. But I really appreciate everybody coming today. Thank you for your attention, and we will let you know when the recording is available. Thank you so much to everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.